Hi, First Round Fantasy Podcast. Doing 0 people, but we're gonna get that up as the night rolls on. Hopefully,
we got 3 viewers right now, man.
We got 3 viewers right now. We're stoked. We're happy to be here. I hope you guys decide to come out and join us. We're hitting it live on all platforms right now, and just what we were hoping for. We'll get into all the other stuff as we progress through the night, or for however long we decide to stay on. But
till midnight.
Just as we were hoping for, guys. Just as we were hoping for. Some news just broke. Curtis Samuel heading to the Washington football team to be paired with Terry McLaurin, baby. And guess who's throwing the ball? Ryan Fitzpatrick on a 1-year, $10 million deal. I am stoked. Justin, you called it, baby. Fitzmagic to the Washington football team. How do you feel? Does it make you feel good?
Oh, man, it not only does hitting it make it feel real nice, but just the fact that we can have a true wide receiver one in Scary Terry actually come to fruition this year makes me very happy. We need more receivers just like we need more running backs. And as you heard on the podcast when I talked about Magic to the Skins, this is a dream to me. I'm happy. I know I don't like to give my plans away, but like I reach for AJ Brown. I don't know if it's a reach to go for Scary Terry, but that's my number one wide receiver I want to get this year.
Terry, wow. Scary Terry?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. If Devontae's on the board, I'm gonna take Devontae.
No, he's not saying he's wide receiver number one. It's just that's his guy.
That's who
he's targeting.
You're gonna be targeting him in a that makes sense.
Your Allen Robinson of last year, right?
This is my Allen Robinson of 2 years ago and my AJ Brown of last year. This is my guy this year.
Justin, you've proclaimed yourself as the all-knowing wide receiver guru. I think we should trust you on this, right? You hit on Allen Robinson the last 2 years.
You guys don't trust me. The viewers, you can trust me. But you guys pick somebody. Go for. There's Curtis Samuel.
You're telling us not to listen to your advice.
Nah. Yeah, I know I'm going to be fighting. Everyone wants to get him, but that's my boy. I'm definitely going to try to reach for him.
Dude, Scary Terry is without a doubt. Like, I was hyped off him on his rookie season. And I'm following Joe. I mean, I'm following Justin to the grave, man. Whether he wants to deny it or not, he's proclaimed himself as the wide receiver guru. So I'm all for Scary Terry. Now, answer me this, okay? Actually, I saw something earlier today, and it was like Allen Robinson has only ever had Blake Bortles, Nick Foles, and Mitchell Trubisky throwing in the ball. And look how good his fantasy seasons have been. Also, he's had 1 ACL injury. Imagine if this guy is paired with anything above average at the quarterback position. We're witnessing like Devontae Adams, like monstrous numbers from this guy. Would you agree? I mean, look what he's done with like literally nothing.
I mean,
for Terry McLaurin?
No, we're talking about
for
A-Rob. I'll tell you, as a huge A-Rob fan, I watch a lot. There's no way he's similar to Devontae. He's just a different species, but this guy can definitely be a 12-140 type of normal guy with a better quarterback at least. But it's just been a shame he's locked up in these type of offenses.
Okay, but I want to kick it back, man. We didn't get to talk enough about Terry, man. Justin called it. Yeah, I get it. But we're not talking about Curtis enough. Curtis Samuel's legit, man. I had him in Dynasty last year. He's still on my roster, I believe. I'm excited for him. And I know last podcast we talked about, I said I didn't like Ryan Fitzpatrick in the football team. It's not that I didn't like him there. I don't like him for actual football reasons. It's a 1-year stopgap, and everybody's saying that. But for fantasy purposes, this is exciting, guys. Gibson, Samuel, McLaurin. Ron Rivera drafted Curtis Samuel.
Logan Thomas.
Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin were – actually, you guys know – Curtis Samuel's been in the league 2 years longer than Terry McLaurin, but he's younger than him. He's 24.
Oh, wow.
25. They both were recruited and played for Ohio State. I just saw this on Schefter's Twitter not too long ago. In the 24 season, they were brought there. They're buddies. This is Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. 2.0.
Oh, my goodness.
Terry McLaurin, when he saw the news, he posted, "Oh, it's lit." So he's excited, man. I like Curtis Samuel. I was a believer last year. I'm so happy he's out of that where he was
Well, he wasn't going to go back to Carolina. I didn't think so. But also for fantasy, that would have been bad because he basically would have just went back to last year.
Which he was decent.
Like trickster type guy.
He was actually decent. Justin and I talked a lot about him on the podcast, but now he's going to be better than that.
And CMC missed a lot of time last year. So if you would have had CMC back for another year of Robbie Anderson, another year from Moore, I'm happy he's in Washington.
Yeah,
we need a this just in button, guys. I thought we talked about this years ago.
I know you're already doing it, but keep an eye on breaking news stories. Let's have Justin do that. So
I just caught up.
We gotta get the breaking news button.
I saw that Everett one. What do you guys think?
Gerald Everett signs with the Seahawks 1 year, $6 million. I think that's amazing because we need tight ends, and I think if Wilson stays, that's another option. And I'll definitely be okay with getting him late, better than being behind Higbee or sharing with Higbee. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the best news there for me is Higbee. Higbee now no longer has somebody else there.
Higbee, man, we had high hopes for him last year, and now he has Stafford, first of all.
Yeah.
And we saw, Stafford was throwing to TJ Hawkinson a lot last year.
Yeah.
And then now Gerald Everett's gone. So they can't go wrong with that because I know the Seahawks have some guys, but one of them gets injured and they fall out, and Greg Olsen was there last year, so he'll be the guy.
Before we hopped on the Higbee bandwagon, I actually liked Gerald Everett. He was a stud. He had some blow-up games. I think he got injured a couple times and ended up that's what made room for Higbee.
Mm-hmm. That was when Gerald Everett got hurt, and that year where Higbee balled out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, and now he goes and pairs with Russell Wilson. I know Justin likes Hollister, but come on, these guys are late-round picks. They're nothing special. Everett is the best tight end he's played with in a while.
I like it.
Yeah, it's definitely good.
Kenny Golladay news, guys.
Yeah, Kenny's obviously he's also been targeted by the Giants also, which I think would be nice for both teams, more so the Giants. If they get him in Cincinnati, I don't know how many. I mean, he throws a lot, so I guess he can support all of them, but that's a lot of big mouths to feed. So I'm interested to see if that actually goes through.
Well, and Miami has been rumored to get him too.
Who do you like more as a quarterback, Joe Burrow or Daniel Jones?
I think that's easy. I don't even know if I don't even know what to say to that. Burrow easily all day, every day, 24/7. Fantasy, real life, doesn't matter. Even Daniel Jones' mama would pick Joe Burrow.
Well, then they want him in Cincinnati, right? You think that'd be better for fantasy? He's competing with Tyler Boyd and Higgins, right?
Yeah, but he's gonna be the top dog probably over there. But I still rather see him go to Miami with Tua.
Or the Giants I don't think Daniel Jones is gonna. I don't know, unless he steps up this year, he's gone. So maybe it's. And listen, he's never had a receiver like Golladay. So, I mean, Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard, that's one thing. You get Golladay and
I almost, honestly, I kind of want I think the Giants might be the best option for him. Because, look, for a the Bengals, they need to improve a lot they need to improve their O-line and their defense. But I don't know. I guess for him, Miami, if he wants to win games, Miami. But if he wants to, be the guy, New York. And it could be a mixture of both in Cincinnati. But that's just, I guess it could be another Dallas situation if that happens, where they have 3 relevant-ish fantasy wide receivers,
And Joe Mixon.
If Burrow gets Golladay, Burrow's going to light it up next year if everybody stays healthy. But they have to get him some help on that offensive line, dude.
I'll be honest, I want him to stay in Detroit though with Goff because they don't have anything. So why not just give this guy some money?
Well, honestly,
Goff's bud.
That is possibly the best fantasy option because we act like Goff. People are acting like Goff is a bum. He's not. He's not a bum.
He's semi-bum, but he's not that bad.
No, but fantasy-wise, he's definitely not a bum. He's supported one of the greatest fantasy seasons from a team with Gurley, Wood. We had the end of that year with Higbee and Cup.
Cup and Woods are always fantasy
Close.
relevant every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And who was feeding him the ball is Jared Goff. So I
Yeah, it's
wouldn't
odd
mind
we don't-
that.
It's odd
I
we
was
don't
gonna
hear any.
say, the same thing. Had he rolled out a Lions reunion, it sounds like maybe he's testing the market. He's being
To move
patient.
on,
That's what I
yeah.
keep hearing. But I don't know. We'll see, bro. You know what's the most annoying thing to me as a fan of the Niners, and I'm sure of the Raiders, and the Vikings, is that I see these teams with these rookie quarterbacks, bro, and it seems like they have endless money. They're getting 3 receivers, 4 receivers. Look at Arizona today, guys. They went out and got AJ Green. And I know AJ Green is nothing fancy anymore, but they got AJ Green, Kirk, Fitzgerald, and D-Hop.
I love it. I think that's perfect for him, and I really love AJ Green over there because you saw him actually catch fire a couple games over there. You let D-Hop work the majority, you let Kirk run the deep, and this guy can catch the middle, which I'm definitely down for. I'm actually going to draft him again, even though I blacklisted him. I like him over there.
AJ Green.
I'll be honest. I'll draft him.
Yeah,
Well-
I'm rooting for him. I don't know, man. If he
there's
stays
that-
healthy, because look, their second receiver is AJ Green's better than their second receiver.
Christian Kirk?
I think so.
Yeah, I
A
get it.
32-year-old AJ Green is probably not as good as a 20-something Christian Kirk.
But
But
how about Larry Fitzgerald? He's not going to get kicked out, guys.
Oh, he's
still
done.
going to have a
That's like
role.
I think they just became the oldest wide receiving core in
Well,
the NFL.
I'm
dude.
guessing
Yeah,
Larry Fitzgerald told him he's not coming back because he hasn't told them yet, unless there's something I haven't heard.
From everything I'm seeing on Twitter, people are saying, "Oh, they're now the deepest wide receiver
Oh.
core with those 4." I don't know. Maybe he's not coming back, but also, like, isn't it kind of beneficial that you have Kirk and D-Hop as your number 1 and number 2, and then you've got these 2 old guys in AJ Green and Fitzgerald? You don't have to rely on either one of them all game. You can kind of rotate them in and keep them fresh.
Yeah.
And AJ Green, I didn't like him last year. I didn't like, the year before he sat out with an injury, but there's that resurgence from going to a bad team to a good team where he's basically had 2 years off, and now he gets to go to Arizona and a team that's going to be fighting to get in the playoffs, a team with Kyler Murray, a team with Hopkins, take the attention off of him. As a Niner fan, I hated it.
Yeah,
Well,
and they have
these
DJ
things
Watt.
happen.
It's old names. We'll see if they actually bring the buzz that the name value has, but I mean, still, man, they're just able to load it up with so many positions that some of these guys are going to succeed.
It's every team in the NFC West is good, and everybody's improving.
Everybody's improving.
So
Dude, that
Gotta keep up.
division is gnarly, man. Hey, we can't forget to acknowledge the chat every now and again. Gio Ramos, he's a buddy of ours. Gio, we see you out there, man. Hey, how early are you willing to reach on Ryan Fitzpatrick? I mean, come on. He's not like a 9-round, 8-round draft pick, right?
nah,
You're hoping people are going to pick him up how early? How early would you pick him up, guys? Are you picking up Ryan
my
Fitzpatrick
first
to start
bye
him?
week. The first bye week for my quarterback that I draft.
Wait, Jacob. No. He is fantasy relevant, man.
Listen,
He's draftable.
I'm putting him maybe
Gary
above
Terry, Curtis
Stafford.
Samuel.
Above
McKissick?
Stafford? No, hold up.
Gibson?
Hold up.
You see what I'm saying? That's where
You guys are all gonna draft Fitzmagic.
Okay,
before I
here's
do
your
that.
problem. Here's what you guys don't understand about Fitzmagic. Yeah, it's Scary's dope. Logan's dope. Curtis Samuels is dope. But you're forgetting about the PPR beast, McKissick. This guy is going to
Oh
I
my
just
God.
be
I knew his name
amazing.
out there.
It's going to be
Gibson
great.
also.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I would
Hey.
definitely draft him above aging Stafford. And I would
No,
definitely
no.
draft him.
How do you say
Oh.
that in one sentence? He says, "I'm going to draft him over aging Stafford." Stafford's like 32, and Fitzpatrick's like 48.
Dude,
Get out of
Patrick
here.
Patrick is like wine. He gets finer with age. What can I say? This guy's killing it. You don't understand. Last year, if he was going to play and Tua didn't play, this guy would have been top 10, I think.
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Stafford
Top
gets left on the
15.
wire every year. So I don't know what's the big discretion about that. We'll
but
see.
Stafford just went from a team that had Marvin Jones Jr. as his number one option, and Golladay was injured all year, and now he goes to a team with Wood. We already talked about it. Reynolds, they got a lot of pieces over there. Cup, Higbee,
But they're also got Cam Akers, who's going to run a lot. I love that idea. I'm almost down to book it down.
Oh, well, guys, I mean, today technically starts the rollover of the new NFL season.
Once
Look
free
at that.
I've
agency
been too
starts,
soon
that down.
to jump the
I'm
gun. You
saying
guys ain't going to do none of my
over
book it downs. Can we do our first book it down right here on a live show?
Magic,
Justin, what is it?
Oh,
Magic over Stafford, easy.
yeah.
if we're gonna initiate book
In
downs
LA?
for the
Ooh.
2021 season, Justin, you got to keep track of them. That's what we
All
decided.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we got the spreadsheet, man. I got us.
No, you said
Yeah,
that
this
last.
year it counts.
You said that last season, Dave, and then there was like 50 missing.
We'll be on it. We'll be on it.
No, actually,
We
let's
didn't
let
start
Gabe
till,
do it.
like,
I
week
won
6.
last year, right? Let's let
Technically,
Gabe do it
yeah.
again. Yeah. I'll take Stafford. I'll take Stafford on that team. I like Fitzpatrick. I don't think it's any knock against him.
I don't
Like
even
I
think
said,
Fitzpatrick is going to play all. Are they doing 17 games this year? Is that official yet or no?
I don't see why not. Why wouldn't they? 17. Oh, you mean
No, I
instead of
meant
16?
literally 17 games. I thought I heard that they are.
Is
I
this
don't
an
know.
end of year or is this a point per game?
Oh, that's a good point.
Oh, this has got to be 10-game minimum.
10-game minimum end of year.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
That's a weird bet, but all right.
Listen, I'm even down to say if he doesn't hit that 10-game mark, null and void it. If he hits that 10-game mark,
Then why not?
I'll
Why
go
not
on a
just
point
make
per
it
game.
easy? Make it point per game in general.
Well, yeah, because if we go point per game and Fitzpatrick plays 3 games, but lights
Okay,
it up
fine.
for-
Minimum 10 point per game.
Yeah, all right, I'm down
Oh,
with
yeah,
that.
that makes sense.
All right.
That
I'm
makes
down
sense.
with that. I'm down.
So I was
with
going
that.
to say, I don't think Fitzpatrick is going to play all the games.
Yeah, but listen, if he plays 3 and he does his famous Fitzpatrick, he drops 60 points. one
I
of those
know.
games.
And then, like, he doesn't play
Yeah.
again, you lose. But
Yeah.
Stafford played all year. That wouldn't make
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. So
Yeah.
10-game minimum for each.
and then
and
point per
then-
game.
Points per game. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean,
Yeah,
I would
that's fair.
say I think he's definitely top 12. Like I have him on my board. You obviously got Wilson. You got your
Look, because
Kylers the
The thing is for Fitzpatrick is like he'll blow it up. He'll be like the number one quarterback for like a month, right? But he throw his touchdown to pick ratio last year was 13-8. So it's like he throws a lot of picks still.
yeah, but 13-8 is not that bad. Like you can extrapolate that times 2, 26 and 16. Like touchdowns
not
are worth more than
great.
interceptions. It's not
not
good.
great though.
But if you
Yeah.
throw 5,000 yards, I'm good with it.
Like Jameis Winston, he had 30 interceptions that
And
year.
he was the number one quarterback,
Oh
wasn't
my
he?
goodness!
I
Yeah, he
think,
was.
so.
I
Yeah.
had him that year. It made me sick and happy every day.
Was that the year that Gio drafted him? Oh no! He drafted Mike Evans number 1.
I believe
overall,
DeMott
like,
had
3
him, but he
years
probably
ago.
traded him to Justin and hooked him up.
No, I pick him up on the waiver wire. No way anyone. I'm not
Or
trading for that.
you
guy.
probably traded him to DeMont because I remember DeMont had him.
Yeah, that sounds possibly right.
Yeah. And Godwin.
All right,
that
well,
year,
hey.
oh my goodness.
Guys,
We
can
got
shift
plenty
the
to-
conversation to the Patriots or what? That's the
Oh,
biggest story.
Yeah, we got to cover the big
right?
names.
That's
We
where
gotta
you
cover
want
the
to
big
go,
names.
man. That's where we're gonna head. Who has the better fantasy year, Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry?
Top 5 quarterbacks the first 8 weeks, then he's gonna sit out like he did
Oh,
the rest
wow.
of the year.
Nah.
Listen, if that's true, do you take a 5? I'll take a top 5 quarterback for the first 8 weeks happily. I'll draft him in the 11th or 12th round where this guy's gonna end up going, maybe even the 14th.
Yeah.
whatever.
And then you draft somebody else. Yeah.
Figure it out. Yeah. So I don't mind that prediction. So Gabe, back to your question: Johnny or Henry?
Jonnu Henry. Who are we drafting? I think it's a little too soon to say like where are they being drafted at, but like who do you prefer? Who are you picking up? Who are you targeting in your fantasy drafts?
Man, I know I'm gonna
Okay,
make
so
Gio-
well, we should say, I mean, people watching might not be caught up to date with everything. The Patriots signed tight end Jonnu Smith and then signed tight end Hunter Henry, which is
And there's only like
interesting.
I think
The
Jonnu
third-
Smith got $40 million and Hunter Henry got like 37, so it's
Yeah.
only a few mil difference.
Well, they different years though. Hunter Henry signed a 3-year deal, and
Fair
Jonnu
enough.
signed like a 4 or 5 year deal.
I think it's easy. Just go back to who is Cam's best tight end ever, and then who's most similar. I think that's your answer, pretty much.
So what? Because he's white?
No, because he's big. He got hands. He catches 10 to 12 yarders. Hunter Henry, dude. That's just the red zone target. That's what Cam needs.
I think there's a possibility that these are the top 2 fantasy pass catchers on the Patriots. Both of them, to be honest.
Dude.
Edelman.
Yeah,
What about
Edelman. I mean, look at the other weapons they added. Kendrick Bourne, Nelson
Aguilar.
Aguilar revived his career in
But
Oakland.
There's James White. I haven't
Cam
heard anything
is-
about him.
I think Cam is more comfortable throwing
With
to the
his
tight
short
ends,
range.
though. Yeah.
That's
That
true.
would be interesting. I'm gonna look that up. How good was Greg Olson with Cam Newton during
Very
his
good.
MVP
Oh, it was-
season?
I think he was all pro, to be
Great.
honest.
He was top 2 tight end like every year.
Yeah.
I mean, the Twitter world was so like eager to jump at the fact that this was just like awful. Like, oh,
No,
you
because-
ruined our lives, man.
Yeah, because
And it's like when you look at it, there were 3 years where Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez played together. 2 of those years, each of them saw 100+ targets, and each of them were like top 10 fantasies, top 10 tight ends for fantasy.
And I guess even
So-
before that, Belichick has always ran 2 tight end
yeah,
system.
yeah. But listen,
and
guys,
it's like
here's the
you
big
say Brady
difference.
can't throw it deep. Well, he could throw it
John
short.
Newton, first of all, Brady is much better than Noon, and Gronk and Hernandez are much better than Jonnu and Henry. That's number 1 and number 2. And number 3, the problem with it is that in today's NFL, you're paying these guys $12.5 million a year each, $25 million total for 2 tight ends, which is pretty luxurious. When you look at a team like the Niners, let's say, who paid what, 16, 17 million a year for Kittle, and then go out and get Jordan Reed for like $2 million. So you got 18 million tied up into Reed and Kittle, or 25 million tied up into these two. Of course, you're going to take the Kittle option, right? It's just a no-brainer. But back to Gabe's original question, Jonnu Smith, and I'll say this right now, is the one that you want because Hunter Henry doesn't stay healthy. And eventually Henry's going to go down with the injury and Jonnu's going to blow up because you're right. Cam Newton does love his tight end. So as long as he's the quarterback, these guys are both going to be relevant.
Well, Jonnu missed some time last year too. Like right when everybody started to realize, damn, Jonnu's like a top 5 tight end, he started missing games.
Yeah.
And he's pretty young still. They're both relatively young. At first, when I heard this, I was like, oh, this is fantasy dumpster fire. But then I was like, wait a minute. No, it's not. I think they both could. Because look, all right, putting up top 10 tight end numbers is not anything special necessarily in fantasy. Like being in the 8 to 10 mark, it's good. You want that, but it's not super difficult to do like wide receiver, running back. So I think that it's possible that we're talking about both these guys like top 12 tight ends if they both stay healthy and play all year. If I have to choose one, I guess I'm going to lean towards Hunter Henry, but I think they're going to use Jonnu kind of like how the Niners use Deebo Samuel, honestly. I think they're going to use Jonnu Smith like that a lot because Belichick has talked about how he likes Jonnu after the catch.
He's more of a receiver too, so I mean it could work.
Yeah, they'll line them both up a lot. I guarantee that.
I mean, Jonnu even ran some snaps out of the backfield.
Yeah, so and we're talking about it for fantasy, right? But for NFL, this is perfect for the Patriots. Belichick is a freaking genius, man. He's setting the team up exactly. Look, maybe he's not genius for signing Cam. I don't agree with bringing Cam back necessarily. But the way he's setting up the rest of the team around Cam, Belichick's like, I'm not going out like that. And he's trying to build a team where they can win. I think they're going to have a winning record next year and possibly make the playoffs because their defense, they signed a bunch of defensive guys too. And they all the guys who sat out last year due to COVID, they're coming back as well. So I think they're going to be actually pretty good. But I still think Cam's going to have like average 200 passing yards a game, though.
No,
200 passing
Did
yards.
you guys see the contract for Cam?
1 year 14 million, but it's really 12 million with some incentives or something.
It's like 5 million with some incentives.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
It's. They were talking about how it basically the incentives are like starting, but not only starting. making the playoffs, making the Pro Bowl, becoming the MVP, becoming the Super Bowl MVP. They're like some crazy incentives that like he's not going to hit half of them. So this, yeah, when I first saw the contract, Jacob, I was like, this is the dumbest thing I ever saw in my life. $14 million for Cam. This guy just got paid $1.5 million last year. Well, from what I'm understanding, this is like, hey, we have our veteran going into free agency if nothing else pans out. But if we can find a better deal, like Jimmy Garoppolo suddenly becomes available because something else happened, we're willing to go out and get somebody else and have Cam Newton getting $5 million on the bench.
Yeah, or if they find a way to move up in the draft and get a rookie and develop him, I could see them doing that.
Yeah. So
what? We spend time on these tight ends. What about the newly acquired wide receivers? Are you guys tempted? Like, I mean, you're not touching these guys, right? Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, Neil Harry, Bird.
Hell no.
There are rumors that they're actually shopping him around right now, so he could very well not be there in the next, couple of days even.
Who's that?
Nikhil Henry.
Harry. Oh, yeah.
Harry.
I mean, I'm gonna keep my eye on Aguilar, man. They paid him pretty well, also,
You gotta
and
prove it to me.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. The only thing holding me back for Aguilar is Cam. Like, if I don't know, let's say Aguilar went to the Washington or whatever, I'd be like, damn, he might be. And they didn't sign Curtis Samuel. I'd be like, damn, I'm gonna keep my eye out for Aguilar, like as a late round flyer. But on the Patriots with Cam, not so sure. But I think he's gonna be the most productive wide receiver, though.
Mm-hmm.
Fair
Nelson
enough.
Aguilar.
Fair enough.
So
Yo, really quick, we got a couple of comments, boys. We can't forget. We can't forget about the people. Gio, he's probably already gone. See you later, dude. Have a good power nap. Eric Sorensen, favorite team and why? I commented already. Raiders. Justin said he's got.
Well, Gabe, I
the
was sharing some of the
Vikings.
comments when you weren't looking.
My bad.
Not this
my
one,
bad.
though.
Well, Jacob, what's your favorite team, man? What's your favorite team?
The San Francisco 49ers. Why? Because I grew up watching them because my dad did. That's pretty much it. And I love them now,
Mm-hmm.
Joe, what
That's a good
about you,
move.
man?
Come on, man. You already know it's Niner Nation over here. Kings,
All right,
Niners,
all right.
Giants,
Eric.
baby.
Eric,
I
what's
don't
your
know
favorite
how
team, man?
Justin and Joe developed their teams. Like, Justin just, got a map out, took a pin and dropped it, and then, that's my favorite team.
No, bro. We used
man.
to play Madden
His
with Cole
favorite
Miller.
color,
No one knows the story. No
and
one
then
knows.
Joe
Listen.
just chose the local teams.
These guys are all Niners, Raider fans. My whole family, all of that. I'm like, I don't come from San Fran or Oakland. What am I representing these guys for? So Sacramento kid, I have nothing to represent. I go to school and I see a football magazine and Randy Moss is on the cover. And from that day on, Vikings for life, man. That was my
Wow.
boy.
That's the Justin origin story.
Yeah. That's how
Well,
White
hey.
Sox and Frank Thomas came to be too.
I was because I knew you were a White Sox fan too. I'm like, that's so random.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's really random now that I understand the locations, but hey, it is what it is.
Well, Eric, man, if you're still there, let us know who your favorite team is. Marcus, do you think Kenny Galladay is going to the Giants after hearing the news of him meeting with them tomorrow? Yeah, I did hear that. And I also heard that Cincinnati offered him a big deal. I think we were just talking about that, guys. We think the better fit would probably be Cincinnati, right? If Joe Burrow is the one throwing him the ball.
I like
But
the Giants.
where do you
better.
think he's likely going? I think New York has more cap space.
So yeah, kid, he says, Kenny going to the Bengals or Giants? What's your take and why?
Oh, was
We
I out
kind of
there?
talked about it at the beginning
Yeah.
of the show, but real quick, what do I think's gonna happen? I think he goes to the Giants, to be honest, because I think he's gonna be like, I want to be the guy. It's New York. If the Giants are a winning team, the media is all over them when they're good, because it's New York and it's Saquon Barkley and suddenly Daniel Jones is a superstar. Like, so Kenny Galladay could, be on ESPN all the time if he goes to the Giants. So I think it's going to be the Giants out of those two.
Mm-hmm.
We want him to end up in Cincinnati, though, right? We talked about that earlier. Joe Burrow with the better arm, apparently.
I wouldn't be mad either way, because I think that, it would suck because there's no way T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Kenny Galladay are all top 20 wide receivers. I just don't. Maybe, but I don't see that. So
No.
one of them's going to be one of them's going to go down to like a top 40 receiver. And who is that? Is it Boyd? Is it Higgins?
Now, my guess is we'll see the same thing as the Cowboys last year, where we had Lamb and Cooper, and they killed it, but Gallup took a step back. And then Gallup took a step forward later on once Dak was kind of gone.
Yeah.
But that's what's going to happen. And I think it would be Boyd that even he might be more talented than Higgins, but they're invested into Higgins. And if you go out and pay Golladay, then that investment to Boyd is kind of like, okay, well, let's, and the problem is these teams, and I don't understand it, because if you're a basketball team, let's say, and you get two good small forwards and then another one falls in your lap, right? You end up trading one for another position of need. But these football teams just don't seem to want to move on. They'll have 3 wide receivers, and rather, like, look at the Panthers with Curtis Samuel. The writing was kind of on the wall with Robbie Anderson and Moore. Why not move him last year at the deadline? They don't. They weren't competing. Why not move him? Get a 4th-round pick, a 5th-round pick. It doesn't matter, any round pick. But they don't. So I don't know. I never understand it, but that's what I would think. So I liked your explanation, though, Jacob. Giants, for all of the reasons you said.
Yeah.
I'd like him to see go to Cincinnati. He's probably going to be a New York Giant.
I thought it was going to be Miami. I mean, they have Devontae Parker, but I mean, both those guys, I guess if you think about it, they got to think about one of these guys are going to get injured. So have both of them and at least hopefully hope that one stays healthy.
And Miami has a lot of draft capital too, right? They've got a lot of the Texans draft picks, and I think they might have a Steelers draft pick and their own. They have a lot of picks.
Well, yeah, a lot of people are projecting that they get Tua, one of his receivers from college. I don't remember which one it is. Is it Devontae Smith? I'm not sure, but that just to give him some familiarity, get him one of his receivers that he played with in college.
And then Albert Wilson and Allen Hurns are expected to opt in for this season. I don't know how that contract works, but I think they're still signed to the team. So now you have Hurns, Preston, Parker. I kind of like what the Dolphins are doing in a sense that you're young. And yes, there's a lot of opportunity to go out and bring in big pieces. But for me, that's your team. I'm not tying up $12 million on Aaron Jones. I'm not tying up $18 million in a bidding war for Kenny Golladay. I'm going to pick my places and be smart about it and let guys fall into my lap like they have been. I think that's way better than that. Oh, snap. Marcus just said Patrick Peterson to the Vikings. How y'all feeling?
Woo! I like
it's
it.
not fantasy relevant, but I think we can still discuss.
I like it, but
that brings up a really good question, though, right? When we talk about defensive guys that are finding new homes and things like that, how much do you guys pay attention? Say you have Odell, right? And obviously this is top tier back in the heyday when he was great. Or let's take someone from last year, DeAndre Hopkins. How nervous are you about starting someone like that when they're going up against someone like Jalen Ramsey in the Los Angeles Rams? They play him twice a year. Does that factor into you picking up DeAndre Hopkins, knowing that 2 games he's going to be covered by one of the best corners in the NFL? Probably not, right? I mean, for me personally, I don't think too much into it, but I definitely think that way when I look at for instance, New York last year when we didn't know who that number 1 was. So we had people like Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate, and then next thing you know, they're playing someone like Los Angeles. I'm not starting either of those guys that game because one of them is going to be shadowed by Jalen Ramsey, and then the other guy, who knows? Probably lost to the Wolves.
To me, it doesn't affect my wide receiver 1s or even my wide receiver 2s. If let's say I'm gonna start a wide receiver in my flex spot, and these are wide receiver 3s or whatever, and I know Tyler Boyd has a super tough matchup this week, but I have Robert Woods or whatever, then I'm going with Woods this game, and then maybe I'll flip-flop, but it doesn't affect Hopkins type guys. No way. But that's basically the only way
your flex bye-week buys.
Yeah, that's the only way defense affects fantasy. And also it affects fantasy we don't want teams' defenses to be that good because we want them our quarterbacks to be in shootouts, right? So if your quarterback has a great defense, then they're they're gonna not be in shootouts as much and things like that. So and they might have less volume.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm more concerned when my running back's going against the top-notch defense.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I don't know, because a lot of the times nowadays with these guys, they don't shadow as much as they used to, right? So a lot of times you're seeing, no, this guy plays the left side of the field, this guy plays the right side of the field, or, you know, they may give him a play or two off or whatever the case is. Hopkins is still probably going to get his. And the chances are that even if he doesn't, it just takes one play with a guy like that, you know? So, of course, you're going to play him. But when you have, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, the Bucs were, like, such a good run defense last year. And when you have a guy going against the Bucs, it's like, dude, this sucks. Like, you already kind of know, temper your expectations. I got Miles Sanders going against the Bucs. He's almost not even playable. Like, and he is a running back too, or was a running back too last year, right? Even with his shortcomings, he still finished in the top 20. So that's what I'm more concerned about. And
yeah, I have the same mutual feelings. Hope that answers your question, Marcus, about Marcus Peters. I gotta change topics since we're just kind of jumping around here. What do you guys have to say about our man James White trying to hook up with Tom Brady in Tampa? Tampa seems to be the only team interested in the guy. Does that take value away from people like Keyshawn Johnson, Ronald Jones? What are you guys thinking? What are your initial gut reactions? Justin, you got one for me?
I think if Fournette leaves and they need insurance behind Rojo, why not? But even behind Vaughn, he's not going to take priority in any capacity. I think he's done for the most part. So it is what it is. He might be like a week 12 pickup flex if need be, if he gets some run, but I'm not holding my breath on him.
And keep sleeping on James White. And every year me and Jacob would talk about it. Week 2, James White's on the waiver wire. Nobody picks him up. Nobody drafts him. And every year he's with Tom Brady, he's your J.D. McKissick. He balls out somehow, some way. He gets 6 catches for 60 yards, whatever. Dude, I like him. I don't think Tampa can afford to bring Fournette back. They've already done their shenanigans with Gronkowski and Lawson and some of these other you know who I'm talking about, the defense. They brought in some guys back. They spent a lot of money already, and they got Gronkowski. And I know Brady kind of messed with his contract to open up some money, but Godwin got franchise tag. They don't have money to bring back Fournette. I think he's going to go out and get a bigger offer somewhere else. So I like James White. Why not? It's great for everybody, actually, because Ronald Jones isn't the best pass catcher. So they need a third down back. So that's insert James White. But Ronald Jones has proven that he can put big yards up on the ground and be fantasy relevant. So when Fournette came, it kind of ate into both of them during the regular season. Neither of them were really fantasy relevant at some points, you know. So, or you'd have to guess, oh, is Fournette going to be the guy this week? Oh, no, it's Ronald Jones. Oh, Ronald Jones fumbled. He's benched the rest of the game. It sucks. You never know. But now it's like, okay, Fournette's gone. The commitment is to Ronald Jones. James White is the third down back. It's at least established. We know what we're going to get. So I like it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I agree with Joe pretty much. If they bring Fournette and James White in, then it's just too crowded. But I know Brady's trying to convince Leonard Fournette to take a pay cut. But the thing is, if he's a running back, right? If he gets injured this year, and let's say he signs a 1-year deal or whatever, he's done. So this might be his best chance to get a big payday. So I think if Fournette's gone, you bring James White in and you still have Ronald Jones, that's perfect. That's just what New England always had, was James White and a runner, you know? So I would draft James White if he goes to the Bucs. But I'm not talking about like in the top 5 rounds or something like that, but after the 10th round or something, and I need
he's a late running
round
back, flyer.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
If you went 0 running back, that guy that's going to give you that max PPR value.
But he could definitely be a J.D. McKissick type and be really, really fantasy relevant. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Ooh, hey, who you taking next year, James White or J.D. McKissick?
Don't even ask these questions, man. I don't even care. You all take James White, please. God.
Oh, I'm not ready to book that down yet, but yeah, we'll revisit it as we get closer to the year, if it happens. Sticking to Florida, Joe calls him the guy who's forever going to be destined a backup quarterback. Jacoby Brissett finds himself as a backup quarterback deal in Miami. A lot of us were speculating that he could possibly find a starting role somewhere. No, 1 year, $10 million down in Miami. So they're fully in on Tua. How do you guys feel about that? He didn't really show out last year like we wanted him to. He was a rookie, came in late, came off an injury. Are you guys excited about what he could do in his sophomore year?
I mean, you have to, man. He's the number 5 overall pick, right? They took him over Herbert. You can't go in 10 games later and say, oh, shit, we messed up. It's time to throw in the bed. You know, obviously, if you can get Watson for him, then you're like, oh, yeah, no, we love Tua. But Watson's too good. We couldn't pass him up. You know, so, of course, you have to go and say, okay, he's a little injury prone. Let's bring in a good backup. But, hey, Tua, this is your team. You know, Fitzpatrick's gone. Brissett's a career backup. He's going to be great for you. He's going to help you, teach you. He learned from Brady himself. You're golden. So
yeah, and if Tua gets hurt, they can just run the same system with Brissett, a similar type player. It's weird to me. Like everybody is like, oh, the Dolphins are ready to move on from Tua. I'm like, wait a minute, why? Like you haven't even had a chance to see what you really have with him. Like,
bro, it's crazy.
And I know it's getting more and more like you got to move on quick. Like if you don't ball out in the first 2 years, you're gone. It's the NFL starting to get like that, but they used to like wait on guys forever. And
3-4 years.
Yeah. I don't think we can. Okay. Let's go through next season with Tua. Then if he plays a full 16 games and he's not the guy, then look at moving on. So I think they got to put a little bit more faith in him and get him another pass catcher. I mean, I like Gesicki. I like Devontae Parker. And I'm not going all in on Gesicki again this year like I did last year, guys. No way. I drop him and then somebody else picks him up and he starts playing well. I'm done with it. But
I think he's good, man. I like.
No, he is. That's why I'm going to end up drafting him again somewhere. But I just think they do need to get him another receiver. So I mean, look, Will Fuller's still out there. Get him Will Fuller.
Wait, didn't he sign with the Fuller? Never signed with the Ravens?
No. Kenny Galladay's still out there.
Why was I tripping? Why did I think he was there?
Juju Smith-Schuster's still out there, and
that's the best fit right there.
After the everybody after the guys were franchise tagged, Godwin, Allen Robinson, those are the top 3 guys right there and they're all still available. So that's going to be interesting. Why haven't these guys signed yet? Are teams hesitant? Are they asking for too much money? Are they waiting to see where Deshaun Watson goes? And that's what I think it is. In the NBA, when LeBron's free agent, nobody signs until LeBron signs, and then all the dominoes start to fall.
It sets the market price, and it's not like these guys are equivalent, but yeah, you have to wait for the big dogs to go, and then the other players will shell out to get their misses, And that's that brings me to the Brissett thing. I'm so disappointed he didn't go to the Bears because I don't understand why you would rather have Dalton than Brissett. Older, didn't do much when he had the opportunity with a high like that offense is amazing, and that's what he did with it. So I want to see Brissett get a real chance after his few stints. I don't think he's great, but I think he's better than Dalton.
I agree. Jacob, we were talking about it in the chat where I was saying I like Fitzpatrick over Dalton, and Jacob said I don't know what Gabe said, but I know Jacob said he liked Dalton more than Fitzpatrick. And my question to you, Jacob, is this: Dalton is going to be 34 this year. He hasn't had a winning season since he was 28. I think he sat out most of one of these years.
No, bro, I did not say – I said Dalton over Foles.
Oh, Foles, my bad.
Yeah, it was Dalton signed 1 year, $10 million, and then you said Fitz Dalton, and you said Foles is better, and then I said no, Dalton over Foles. I would rather think
Foles is better though.
I would rather have Dalton. I don't think Dalton's that bad. I think people are holding the last year against him too much. I don't think you're going to win a Super Bowl with Dalton unless the rest of the team is absolutely incredible. But I don't know. I think
better than him.
Look, Dalton, I don't know. Dalton has had some great seasons fantasy wise, stats wise, and they went to the playoffs multiple times in Cincinnati when he was there, and he fed in AJ Green for multiple years and top 5 guy. I don't think Dalton is terrible. Look, he's not great. I mean, I agree with you guys. I think if you were to rank the 32 like quarterbacks, right? I would rank Brissett over Dalton. Like I think Brissett is good enough to be a starter in this league. So I don't know why he's going to Miami. It's interesting when there's still like a few quarterback vacancies. Like I don't know. It's just weird.
I mean, Jacob, the one thing that I'll caution on that, Dalton has thrown 4,000 yards twice in his career, and he hasn't done it in 5 years. It's going on 6 years.
All right.
I just don't see it. I don't know. I think the Bears, you're swapping that. Listen, maybe he's better. How much better? Is he better enough that I'm going to go spend $10 million there instead of giving Allen Robinson a long-term contract? Hell no. You know, it's like it doesn't make sense to me. But either way, I agree. Brissett should have got that deal.
Yeah, I think what they're banking on, I mean, Chicago's got the defense, right? Like they have the defense to take them to the playoffs. They don't have an offense. So maybe they're hoping that Dalton can somewhat just sustain and sort of monitor that offense, keep it afloat as they progress to the playoffs and maybe make a deeper playoff run. Justin, you were about to say something.
No, I just wanted to talk about the big dogs.
Yeah, I mean, and real
really
quick, I'll say I think Trubisky's better than Andy Dalton. So
Oh my God.
That's just weird.
Hey,
Hey.
Since you mentioned his name, Jacob, I want to segue. I've been talking to my friend all day. I've been telling these guys I want Trubisky to pull it on a Niners uniform this year. I love that fit. All right, listen. You're talking about a guy who Matt Nagy's the problem in Chicago. The problem is not Trubisky. The problem is Matt Nagy. Look what he did with David Montgomery. It took this guy 30 games to figure out how to use him, or 28 games to figure out how to use him. Mitchell Trubisky, we've seen him put up 350-yard games. We've seen him put 4 touchdowns on the board. We've seen him do this with only Allen Robinson as his only legit threat. And now you talking about a guy that's mobile, a guy that has the potential, a guy that has the talent. Look at what happened with Marcus Mariota last year. Everyone was so down on him. He's trash. He's garbage. Blah, blah, blah. He goes to the Raiders, right, for a backup role. Derek Carr goes out. Mariota comes in, and he looks really good. And I remember coming into this offseason, a lot of the talk was, well, Mariota could be in line to go to the Patriots, or he could be in line here. He's a hot topic. He played like, what, 3/4 of a game, Gabe? And I'm just saying.
He almost had a really good game, man. He almost let it come back.
And then, like, Derek Carr came back the next week, and we didn't expect him to.
And the notion right now is that Trubisky sucks because he's been on the Bears. No, the Bears suck. Matt Nagy sucks. Ryan Pace sucks. They need to throw that whole system out the window. Bring him to the Niners on a cheap contract when Jimmy G, hopefully, knock on wood, I hope he doesn't, but let's say he does get hurt. Ouch. You give me Trubisky over Nick Mullins, we're still going to make the Super Bowl with Trubisky.
All right. Hey, sticking with San Francisco, Marcus brings up
I'm down for that, Joe.
Yeah, it's good, man. I wish you the best, I guess. I'd be happy if Trubisky went to San Francisco too, right, Justin? We'd be happy just as much.
I love it. Yeah, you guys
have it, man. It's going to be great for you guys. But speaking of, Marcus mentions that San Francisco has made a couple of key defensive signings. And Joe, what's your take, man? I guess we'll go right back to you. How you feeling? Their defense was already good. Their defense
the
was
biggest
great,
ones were our offensive line, Trent Williams, and they brought in.
They paid that boy.
Okay, first of all, let me explain that. I've been looking into that a lot.
It's not a bad contract.
It's a 3-year deal, basically, worth $50 million guaranteed. After that, or $60 million, whatever it is. After that, he can it's basically done. You know, I've been reading about these voidable contracts, and the way that it works is that a team gives you $10 million over 5 years, right? And they give it to you as a signing bonus so that it doesn't hit the cap. It only hits $2 million every year. Like Taysom Hill's deal, he got $10 million over 4 years.
I'm starting to learn more about that too. Like we see these huge contracts, they're not really what they are.
Trent Williams will not see $100 million. Not even 130. He's not going to see 100. You know, and he's the best left tackle in the NFL. Of course you pay for a guy like that. Then we upgrade our center. We got Sosa from the Rams, who We'll see, but it was a cheap contract. And then we brought back some corners. I like what the Niners have done. Nothing exciting, but I think they still have $17 million to play with. I read something crazy like that. And I'm hearing that Juju's still on the table for us.
Wait, Joe,
would be
did you just say for us? For the San Francisco 49ers?
That's what I've heard. They were talking
Get
about.
out of here.
I think it was
Vegas
talking
hasn't
about
gone
the-
to Las Vegas.
Well,
Gabe, would he
Vegas?
still be your favorite player if he went to the Niners?
That's a good question. Would he?
Yeah, man, of course he would.
Wow.
I've always gravitated towards players rather than teams, but I mean, hey, my blood roots are just in Oakland, but they don't even have their blood for me, so they're in Vegas now.
Listen,
But,
the fact is, if Juju comes, I don't want him to come to the Niners because we have Ayuk and Debo and
It's-
Kittle. We don't need
That'd be way
him.
too awkward, man. Yeah,
It's too much money for. Listen, we need a third guy, but it's not Juju. We need a cheap, good veteran fit. I wanted Emmanuel Sanders. It didn't happen. I was okay with AJ Green. That didn't happen. So we'll see. There's still some guys out there.
Well, hey, speaking of third guys on your wide receiving core, let's bring up a name like John Ross. We're talking about Kenny Golladay possibly going to the New York Giants. Well, they pick up the speedster, fastest 40 ever, John Ross to the New York Giants. Marcus, if you're still there, how do you feel about that? More importantly, guys, how do you feel about that? I mean, I'm not touching him. It's
Irrelevant.
definitely a wait and see, right?
It's something to monitor down the line, but I'm not reaching at all in a draft for him.
It's
Yeah,
just
he
crazy to me.
I don't
John
think he is
Ross,
draftable.
John Ross was like what? Wasn't he a top 10 pick in the NFL draft? And
I
then
think sick. Yeah.
he had like a 2-week like blow up like 2 years ago.
Got
And
injured,
then-
no?
People like Joe swindle other fantasy players and trade them, and then he just does nothing.
What was that? What
You
was
traded
that
him to
deal?
DeMont for just some BS. It was crazy. But John
Listen.
Ross was balling for like 3 weeks, like out of his mind.
Wasn't
Like
it last year? I don't
no,
think
it was 2 years ago.
Was it?
Yeah, and then it's just crazy how these guys kind of disappear. But I don't know. I mean, like we see what's his name, Sterling Shepard, get hurt every single year, and no Golden Tate. So honestly, it could end up being fantasy relevant. To be honest, the John Ross signing, but I'm not excited about it right now.
Well, I mean, you have to think if they do land one of those people like Kenny Golladay, maybe that John Ross signing does become that much more relevant because he's not relevant for fantasy, but hey, he opens the floodgates for someone like Kenny Golladay just that much more when you have
Yeah.
somebody on the opposite side of the field lining up with you. I mean,
Gabe, I'm going to cut you off before Justin falls asleep. Enough of this John Ross talk. Let's talk about Corey Davis to the Jets.
get out of here. I was going
Let's
there
talk
next.
about
We got such a
Corey
long
Davis.
I'm not
time.
even
Yeah.
talking about that, but we need to.
Yeah, I mean
Corey-
that's pretty big deal.
That's you guys like that? I love it. Corey Davis balled out last year.
Well, it's
It
a whole
can-
different system, a whole different quarterback. I'm just thinking that if he can replicate what he found, then great. But I need to see it. I can't bank on that with that Sam Darnold business.
I'll tell
it's
you
not
what.
gonna be Darnold though.
I agree. I agree with Justin. I need to see it, but I'll tell you right now, if Watson lands in New York, I don't need to see anything. I'm gobbling up all of Corey Davis, man.
Guys,
Everywhere
it's
I
gonna
can.
be Zach Wilson out of BYU, and he's gonna ball
Get
out
out
with
of
Corey Davis.
here.
Yeah, it is.
You
And
can't
he's
give
gonna
up
be-
on. I don't know. It's a weird situation.
No, it's most likely going to be Zach Wilson or Trey Lance, which a lot of people are saying since his workout that Trey Lance has jumped Zach Wilson, but it's always been Zach Wilson at number 2. But I think either way, I do agree with you. They're going to trade Sam Darnold and they're going to draft a quarterback because why are you going to keep Sam Darnold and then pay him next year when you could have a rookie quarterback on his rookie contract for 4 years? Like, it just doesn't make sense to do it the opposite way when you think this other guy could be better than Darnold, you know? So I whoever the quarterback is, Corey Davis is going to be their number 1 option, in my opinion. I really like Denzel Mims. I think he's a really good player. And I think they'll be the 1 too, honestly. So I do like this. And look, the Jets defense is not that great. So they're going to be behind in a lot of games. So
Jets defense is top 10 defense next year. Book it down.
Oh,
Book it
my
down.
God.
My man, Robert Saleh is going to turn that team around.
Oh, I mean-
in a year.
yeah, I mean,
They're
that's
going to
very-
go from a laughing stock to I'm
That's a
sorry
great
to
point.
our viewer, but I think I know one of our viewers said they were a Jets fan. Eric, I'm with you, my dude. And I'm sorry, Marcus, but the Jets, the Green Gang, they're going to be number one team in New York, which is not a big feat, but still, they're going to be good. Robert Saleh's legit. The quarterback they're going to draft is legit. Corey Davis is going to ball out. Robert Saleh learned all of his tips and tricks, and he brought our offensive coordinator along with him. They're going to be fantasy. I like Corey Davis to top 15 next year.
Wow.
Oh,
Top
my
15.
God.
That is big.
Oh, my God.
15.
You
Who's
heard
Zach
it here
Wilson?
first, folks.
Hold on. If Deshaun Watson's there, top 10.
Oh my god.
Top 10.
Good for you.
No,
Watch.
look,
Watch.
I believe in Corey Davis. He was playing very well last year.
He was your ride or die for 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him a lot for like 3 years, and then I gave up. But yeah, I think he's going to be good. I mean, I think he's going to be a solid wide receiver too.
I mean, there was a reason why he was good last season, right? It was because of AJ Brown. It's because for the last 3 years we've been waiting for him to pan out as this wide receiver one, and that never happened. AJ Brown comes along. Well, hello, Sailor. He finally flourished, kind of like that Juju role. So if you put him in a situation where he's already playing with a lesser quarterback, as of right now, Sam Darnold, I gotta see it to believe it before I trust him as a true wide receiver one. Like, he's not going to be wide receiver 2 to Jamison Crowder, you know? So
Yeah, but
I have to
hold
see
on.
it.
He wasn't wide receiver 2 to AJ Brown for a lot of last year. AJ Brown missed a lot of games, like 6-7 games.
Yeah, he did.
And that's when he was at his best, actually, was when AJ Brown was out. So color me a guy that's ready to put him as that number one. I like him. I like him.
He just showed good things last year that I hope carries over.
And he's
Well,
still
hey.
young.
They say wide receivers take a little bit to pan out. So I want to agree with you guys. I do. Let's stay in New York. Yes, we'll probably come back to Corey Davis at some point. You guys have any interest in the Giants signing Devontae Booker?
No.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Why are we talking about this?
Saquon,
Why are we
man.
talking about this?
Barkley?
Let me change the subject to the biggest part of this whole free agency so far. Aaron Jones stays and Jamal Williams
my
gets a role in Detroit. I don't love it. I'll take the Aaron Jones part, but I don't love it for Jamal Williams.
The memes going around about about AJ Dillon believers, I was dying.
Why?
Yeah,
He's
they're pretty
real.
good.
He's not phony. Maybe
No, it was just showing AJ Dillon owners crying. Like
Yeah,
they
'cause-
all wanted him.
Well, like dynasty owners, yeah.
Oh, I
He
don't
just
know.
spent four years, $48 million on Jones. AJ Dillon's going to be a role, but he's not going to be the number one guy
And the
there.
problem is Jamal Williams was a great pass catcher. AJ Dillon, I don't think that's in, like one of his strengths. So when it's,
A goal
third
line back.
down, who's going to be in the game? Aaron Jones. So
Yeah.
he's going to look, Aaron Jones is going to get more volume now, honestly. And
Yeah.
AJ Dillon's just
Hoping.
going to be to let him rest when Aaron Jones needs to rest.
Or
I'm
first down,
hoping.
first and 10, you bring him in, you let him get you
Yeah,
4
he's
or
going to
5
have a
yards.
bigger role than last year, but for those of us holding out hope that he's going to be RB1, it's not happening in the next 2 years at least. But somebody I was listening to made a good point. How freaking long, and this is a lot of people compare Derrick Henry, compare AJ Dillon to Derrick Henry. How long did we wait for Derrick Henry to come out and be a freaking RB1? Like 4 years. So
Yeah.
there we go. AJ Dillon in 3 years, man. You'll
I
be the
can't
man.
wait.
Putting a
I can't-
pattern together, bro.
Dude,
You're just a Titans fan, huh?
I
can't
guess
You
so.
wait.
waited on Corey Davis. You waited on
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. But for some
Yeah.
reason, I don't think you ever had AJ Brown.
Well, the
You're
thing
never
is,
gonna get him. You're
Yeah,
never gonna
it's-
get him.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, everybody was on him right away, like basically.
Yeah.
So
Let
Yeah,
me tell
it's
you.
tough.
Let me tell you. I am sad that Aaron Jones stayed for multiple reasons. I wanted Aaron Jones to leave, Jamal Williams to leave, both get starter roles elsewhere, and AJ Dillon because I saw Swift, I saw Akers, I saw the other rookies, Robinson, ball out, and he could do the same. And that's why I'm very disappointed. And I wish I could draft him as a starting running back next year.
Yeah, I would for fantasy purposes. All right, so I know we may have touched this on the running back thing, but gosh, I'm drawing a blank, and I hate to do this because the guy that was in Miami was actually really good. What was his name? 7th round pick.
Who are you talking about?
Gaskin. So, what's better, right? If Aaron Jones, the two rumored options were staying in Green Bay, going to Miami. So, one way or another, we were either going to kind of lose A.J. Dillon or lose Gaskin. So, from a fantasy perspective, let's say Aaron Jones was completely out of the picture. Do you like Gaskin or do you like AJ or do you like Dillon?
I like Dillon. I think he's real.
Over Gaskin?
Yeah.
With gas.
You're saying if they were both no Aaron Jones, just AJ Dillon?
Because Aaron Jones was going to go to Miami if he left Green Bay, right? So
I see.
Effectively would have gotten rid of Gaskin.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
from a fantasy owner perspective, I think this is better.
We'll see. Hard to say.
well, yeah, that's the thing because what I was talking about earlier, Gaskin can catch the ball, so
Yeah.
he would be on the field probably maybe more than AJ Dillon would. So it might have been the best fantasy option and Packers have a great O-line too. So it might have been the best. I think this is best if they brought Jamal Williams back too, then you're like, damn, now sucks. But I think it actually is the best option.
No.
But talking about Jamal Williams,
Yeah, there you
what
go.
the hell? The DeAndre Swift managers are pissed about this, I think.
Yeah, I'm sad.
We knew
What,
it was going to be.
what about us
somebody.
Carry On Johnson owners, dude? We're feeling just as
Oh
bad.
my!
No,
You know what? I
know.
removed Carry On from my brain, honestly.
Yeah, that's where he
Sorry,
belongs.
Carry On.
No offense.
Hey,
Yeah.
we knew that they were going to bring somebody in, right? And I don't know, maybe this is crazy, but I had almost gotten to the point where I believed in Swift so damn much that if they wouldn't have, let's say they would have signed Carlos Hyde, right? Or signed nobody and said, carry on your change of pace. I was debating in our keeper league, where it's a 2-keeper, possibly trading away, or I already traded away Hopkins. I already traded away Kelsey, but I was debating keeping Swift over Metcalf. Maybe. He was on my radar. I wasn't saying it, but I loved him at the end of last year. He was putting up 20 points a game. A lot of those games where he had the opportunity. He got injured and missed some time, and it kind of sucked. But this sucks, man. I wanted a Devontae Booker, a Carlos Hyde, a Mark Ingram, any of those guys to go there. But Jamal Williams
Well,
is good.
it's not even just like if you have him in a keeper or dynasty league. It's like
In
when
general.
you're thinking about, a lot of us people who play a lot of fantasy football, we play in 2 or 3 leagues or whatever, and you're like, ooh, I'm gonna draft Swift in the second round. Like you're thinking that, and now it's like maybe a little bit lower now. It just depends if you need a running back.
Well, let's see what the new coach does. That's the thing. That's even more up in there, right? If this would have happened under Patricia, I would have been like, "Oh, Swift is screwed because he's just going to
That's
lean on the vet."
That's a good. But the thing is, to me, it's so weird. While we were talking about, Jamal Williams and Swift are very similar. They're both very good pass catchers, and they kind of play as like hybrid receivers.
Mhm.
So they're, it's not like one of them's just a straight runner like AJ Dillon or something. They're both very, very similar. So I think I don't think you're going to have them both on the field a lot.
I don't know because look at who's Detroit's throwing. Who are they throwing the ball?
That's a good point. That's because maybe you're right. Maybe they put Swift in the slot like they do with Austin Eckler sometimes, and then that could work.
I don't understand. Isn't Swift basically a good pass catcher too? And that's Jamal Williams' strength.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
it didn't make sense to me. I was sad. I wish. It's kind of like once I find out where Drake is going to go, he hasn't signed anywhere, right? So if Edmonds stays, maybe that's my Jamal Williams rehab that I get a nice PPR back over there. But I was really counting on drafting Jamal as a RB1 for myself. It was really sad.
But listen. The problem is you guys are making it seem like these guys are James Whites. They're not. They're both complete backs. It's not like they can't
That's
run.
my point. That's my point.
They're like
No,
they're Austin
that's my
Eckler's,
point.
man. They're Austin Eckler clones.
I think they're better runners than Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler, and listen, the guy's great. He's not a good running. He's not great at running the football. He's too small. I mean, I don't think he's ever cracked even like 500-600 yards on the ground. But both of these guys, Swift and
no, they're more complete backs. But I'm saying, like, how different are they from each other?
No, very similar. I agree.
Yeah,
but
what
from
I'm saying,
a football perspective, it's like, can you have 2 top 15 guys? Yes. But you're probably not going to have Swift, who had top 5 potential, definitely top 10 potential, is not going to
Yeah,
hit.
no, I mean, like you said, a Carlos Hyde would have been perfect, something like that. We're never going to just have, like, they only have one running back on the roster, They're always going to have. So don't freak out. Like, people are freaking out that the Jaguars signed Carlos Hyde. That's actually a good thing because you don't want James Robinson owners don't want the Jaguars bringing in Aaron Jones
or Philip Lindsay
or even Philip Lindsay. They want them bring Carl. You're happy. You should be happy that they brought in Carlos Hyde, and
insurance back.
And it shows that they're probably not. They might not even draft a running back early in the draft either, and that could threaten James Robinson's job.
I don't know who's talking about replacing James Robinson with any signs, any rookies. That dude's stud, man. He's gonna be good.
He's a stud.
Let me segue to something, if you don't mind, that might impact some owners in fantasy, and that's Marlon Mack resigning. What does that mean? I don't know. I like Marlon Mack. Again, I wish he went somewhere else to be a starting running back because obviously Taylor is the main back with Naeem on the back end. So what the hell is Marlon Mack going to do? I don't know.
You know what sucks about this? Who's the other guy? They had a third guy last year.
Yeah. Wilkins?
Yeah.
No, Hines.
No,
Wilkins too. Wilkins, Hines. Yeah.
So now you have a fourth guy? Like,
well, that's what this is what they were going into with last year.
But Wilkins, like when we looked at the team last year, right? It was like Hines is maybe going to get some pass catching, but we all kind of thought Taylor was going to take that role sooner than later, and we thought that Mack was going to run the balls, and that eventually then Taylor was going to take his role mostly. But now it's like, I don't know. I know, Jacob, you and I were talking about like Taylor's possibly top 5 like lock. Like, I forget some of the names, but you were saying like better than Aaron Jones.
Well, that's the thing. No, yeah, I was saying he's going to go in the first round. And like, for example, I'm looking at a dynasty ranking thing, and they have Taylor at number 3. Like
dynasty, yes,
and that's crazy. But and we're mostly talking redraft, but still, like, I think. Let's say they don't bring Mack back, and we just figure it's going to go a lot like the end of last year. I think he would have went in the first round, and now it's like because they re-signed Marlon Mack, so that means they're going to use him. Yeah. Like they're not just going to re-sign him for no reason. Like I don't think they needed to sign Marlon Mack.
No, like you have those 3 guys. You have Wilkins,
unless Wilkins is gone or something, which I don't know his contract situation or anything like that.
But you're telling me another team didn't ask Marlon Mack agent for any sort of deal? That's just weird to me. Like,
he's coming off an ACL, right?
Yeah.
He's still young, though. I mean, he's young. He's good.
He's super young, yeah.
And guys, there's also a possibility that maybe he's still
injured. It's just a 1 year.
Yeah,
$2 million,
and maybe he's still injured, and maybe
it's to pay for his medical costs.
Yeah, keep rehabbing, and then maybe next year we'll let you do your thing. So who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, really quick. I didn't get a chance to throw my 2 hats in on the Jamal Williams Swift thing. As far as like drafting them, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I think we're gonna find out here very soon once all these mock drafts start coming out and experts are giving their 2 cents and whatnot. Swift is probably going to be the first one off the board, which is why I'm happy taking Jamal Williams later or whoever. If they're flip-flopped, I'm happy taking the guy who's later in the draft because of 2 things. One, Anthony Lynn is the new offensive coordinator over there. We saw him for 3 years in in San Diego, where Austin Eckler had relevance, rose to stardom, some might say. And now you're going to a complete rebuild. He's the offensive coordinator. They don't have any wide receiver weapons. So these guys are going to just get peppered with targets in the backfield all day long. We could easily see a scenario where both guys are catching like 3 to 4 balls a game. It's just a matter of, hey, which one turns it into a 50-yard gain? Which one turns it into a touchdown? And I'll take either one of those guys as like a flex or a deep flyer in my drafts, whoever is going later.
Yeah. That's a good
Well,
point.
it's going to be Jamal Williams. Swift is going to be the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any
younger.
question about that.
I don't give it. That's going to be a handcuff and a half. I'll keep him on my roster all year.
Yeah,
Even though
this just
Jamal
in.
Williams.
he's
'cause
going to
if-
get run, and if Swift
if
goes
Swift
down,
gets-
boom.
And Swift, he's not the healthiest guy.
And you know what
This
kind of
just
upsets me
in.
too? Wait, $12 million for Aaron Jones or 3.5 for Jamal Williams. Again, give me Jamal Williams. I don't know. Give me Jamal.
100%.
Yo, stop thinking like a cap specialist, man.
Dude, I don't want to pay big money for a running back. I just don't get. When I saw that Jamal Williams signed for $3.75 million a year, I was so mad that the Niners didn't give him $4 million because that guy is worth every penny. I thought he was going to get $215, $212 at least. No, nobody else thought that.
I thought he was going to get more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I thought he was going to get way more, to be honest.
yeah.
And he was all hyping himself up too on social media, like all last year and this year.
Maybe
And
people
in the
view
offseason.
him. Listen, guys, maybe our expectations are higher than most. Maybe the league views him as a backup, and we view him as a
The
potential
league just
starter.
doesn't value running backs that much. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just
period.
weird though. The thing is, like, I think if Green Bay didn't have pressure from Aaron Rodgers, I don't think they would have signed that contract with Aaron Jones.
Yeah, but like Jamal Williams is only worth $1 million more per year than Devontae Booker. Like only 1.5 more than Carlos Hyde, who's freaking 30 something. Like I don't know, man.
And also, it's weird because Jamal Williams was playing on a Super Bowl contender, and now he went to it's not like he got paid big money to come play for the Lions, It's a weird situation.
Yeah.
Is he from Detroit? I don't know.
I don't know.
Gabe, I'm sorry, man. Give us your breaking news.
It wasn't anything that big. Rashad Higgins re-signs with the Browns. He'll stay there for another year or so. But you know what? I didn't even see. I totally overlooked it. John Brown's reaching a 1-year deal with the Las Vegas Raiders,
in the
man.
note.
What the heck? I know. I didn't even see it, dude.
Yeah, that means they're probably not bringing in. Hey, Joe said it in the chat too.
Yeah,
they're probably not bringing in Juju then.
Busy day.
But why? But why?
I don't know, man. The question marks surrounding that team are crazy.
Hey,
Like,
John
Gabe
Brown is a
Jackson
good
is on.
receiver.
They just traded
I
Gabe
love
Jackson.
John Brown.
What's that?
I love John Brown, but what the hell do you bring? He's
Well, they
like
lost
identical.
Aguilar though.
I mean,
So
they
you
lost
want two
Aguilar. You
deep
bring in
threats
John
and
Brown.
literally nothing. What's the middle of the field is Waller. We're just gonna throw him 15 times I guess Waller.
If Juju
like
goes
that.
to the Raiders, that hurts Waller, to be
But
honest.
listen, even Juju's kind of all right. Other than this last year he kind of became that intermittent 5 yards and let him run. But before that, he was the deep threat in the Steelers also. Remember
playing
when
second
that
fiddle
last
to
year with
Antonio.
Antonio Brown? It was like
Yeah.
Juju would get 4 catches, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches, 90 yards, a touchdown. He's a deep threat too. How many deep threats do you have on one team? Go get a solid possession receiver. I don't know. Maybe speed beats everything, I guess. When you have Derek Carr, right? He's just let him bomb it.
Yeah, well, when you're playing behind by 10 or 15, 14 points in the second half, yeah, let them throw it. But yeah, the Raiders are something else, man. I mean, Gabe Jackson gone, traded him to Seattle. It's just, I don't know, man. They signed Richie Incognito, didn't even play a game last year. Hey, come on back, man. We could use you. It's like, nah, I don't want that guy on my team.
I heard they who was the offensive lineman that they just cut the other day, Gabe, which I saw. He went to Arizona.
Rodney Hudson?
I actually saw it. He wasn't actually cut. Something about he was actually traded to Arizona for a 3rd-round pick.
I
you
don't
see
know. We'll
that?
have to see. I'm going to look it up right now, but
Yeah.
yeah. Traded to the Arizona Cardinals for a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah. With the 7th going back. Yeah, I was like, okay. I mean, everybody was like, what are the Raiders doing cutting him? And I don't understand why Arizona would give him a 3rd. Anytime that you can take some picks out of the NFC West, do it, please.
Here's the real move right here is that the Raiders are shedding a lot of money. I think they've literally generated like 20-something million dollars in cap space over the last 3 days by releasing just some of their O-line guys. So they could be making a big splash in the next few days, whether it's that wide receiver Juju that we've been talking about, whether it's another defensive piece like they did with the defensive end from the Ravens. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. That was a huge signing for us. There on the defensive line. Yeah, exactly. So they have money to play around with. It's just a matter of what they do with it.
I don't know, but now you have to go out and rebuild your entire offensive line, right? Like 4 out of 5 starters, or is it 5 out of 5 starters from last year are gone?
Yeah, I think it's 4 out of 5. It's awful, man. It's
the really COVID weird. Squad is what my buddy used to call them because they were just literally
the COVID squad.
Yeah, like every week it was like, oh, due to this, and my buddy would get so mad. He's like, look at the Ravens, man. This guy gets COVID and they cancel the game. But then look at the Raiders. They hate us. They hate us. The whole offensive line's out. They're the COVID squad. They're all out, and they're still making us play.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, man, they're everywhere. Hey, look, we got to keep Justin happy here, man. He's only happy. He's only interested in the big stuff. Let's go to New Orleans, right? We have a situation there that's unfolding. Taysom Hill, he had that huge kind of like everybody thought it was this. Wait, what are we doing? 4 years,
it's
$140
so
million
weird because like
and then we signed Jameis Winston. We still don't even know who the starter is going into next year. How do we make up for this? What does this mean for Michael Thomas? Is gone? What's going on?
Yeah, the notification that I got, like I have an app that just updates it right away, and it just all it said was Saints signed Taysom Hill to 4-year, $140 million contract. Like didn't say anything else, and I'm like, what? Then I click on it and I start reading about it, and I'm like, oh, okay. So that was just weird. It's kind of like Joe was talking about earlier with the Trent Williams thing. Like not the same exact thing, but this is more of every year is voidable on this contract. But
it's so weird, man. Who do you want starting there? Who do you want starting there?
Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston. But I'm gonna stay away from them myself personally, but I think it's gonna be Jameis Winston 75%, Taysom Hill 25%. They're gonna just like they used Taysom Hill when Drew Brees was playing. Like I don't think Taysom 90-10.
Yeah, 95.
It was like not.
When Brees was out, Taysom became the starter. Was that just that they had more confidence? He knew the playbook.
I don't know what the reason for that is.
Winston was still recovering from LASIK eye surgery.
Was that what it was?
No, I just made that up.
Is it Ian Rappaport or one of these big guys reported that Jameis Winston is likely to be the starter?
Jameis will be the starter, okay? I don't know what infatuation they have with this Taysom Hill bum, but it just...
I think Sean Payton just thinks he's smart, like using him,
I don't know, man. There's some inside connection between that franchise because he would be a backup and told to shut up and nothing else.
No, the guy is skilled as hell, man. He plays tight end, he plays quarterback, he plays running back, he plays wide receiver.
Cool, then let him play those positions, bro. I don't want.
Keep him away from my Alvin Kamara, dude. It makes me sick.
Oh, that's where this is coming from.
Makes me sick, dude.
Oh, because basically Kamara caught a pass in every single career game until he played with Taysom Hill.
There's nothing like watching 3 goal line possessions where Kamara gets no touches, and I just am laughing about how I lose the championship off that, and then he busts me up. Gabe, no, I'm done. I hate that guy. Blacklist forever. I'm done. Wow. I can't stand him. Him and Kenyon Drake can sit on the back end. I don't care anymore.
No, from a purely fantasy standpoint, we all, I think, want to see Jameis Winston be the guy, right?
100%.
And we want to see – I want to see – okay, so Jameis Winston, we saw him with Mike Evans. We saw him with Godwin. Those guys – Mike Evans in particular is deep bomb threat, right? That's not what we know Mike Thomas to be, right? Mike Thomas is kind of a 10, 12, 15, kills you with quantity, not quality, right? This guy gets route running, 12 catches in a game for 130 yards. Like, it's just amazing. What is the outlook? Which one? Mike Thomas last year, I'm not going to count it at all. I don't care who the quarterback was. He was injured. He wasn't wanting to play for that team, whether it was Brees is racist, whatever it was. Now, who do you guys want to see as the quarterback for Mike Thomas? Let's not talk Alvin Kamara. Let's talk Mike Thomas. Jameis?
Easy. Not even a question. He's just a better passer. You're going to see a lot more love spread around everywhere. You're not going to see scrambles where Taysom Hill vultures yards. It's just Jameis is a fantasy quarterback.
I think either way, I know where you're coming from, Joe, because Taysom Hill is going to throw shorter passes, and that's kind of Michael Thomas's specialty. And just, in PPR monster, right? But I just think overall, Jameis is just a better pure thrower, so it's gonna all work itself out to where he's more productive with Jameis Winston over a long period of time. I think so.
I tend to agree with that. I'm not disagreeing. My thing though is I would be hesitant to just look at what we saw last year with Taysom Hill scrambling this and this and that. The offense wasn't built around Taysom Hill going into the year. It was built around Drew Brees. So I don't know, man. I'm just saying if you have an offense that's built around Taysom Hill going into the season, things may be different.
No, that's a good point. But I still like – I think that Justin's pissed about the Kamara thing, but I think that, like, it just comes from, like, pure quarterback play, right? Like, Jameis Winston, that's where you're going to get that from, where Taysom Hill's, like, it's just something new that they're trying to do. But he definitely – like, they're effective. Like, they score – how many times did Taysom Hill come in and they score a touchdown because he's on the field, you know? Like, they would bring him in the red zone. And I think they're going to do that more than they did when Drew Brees was on the team, to be honest, I think. Maybe not 75-25, but like maybe like 85-15, you know?
That's fair. That's
something like that.
It's not crazy to think that he's going to find his way onto the field 30-40% of the time. Whether that's whatever he's doing. But you're right. Maybe as a quarterback, it's 10% of the time. Maybe it's 15% of the time. But it's probably enough that I want to see Taysom Hill, if he's not the starter, be named as a wide receiver or, you know, one of those other positions, tight end.
Oh, so you can start him there? Like for that first week when people were starting in the tight end position?
So 100%, man. Well, listen, it's broken if he starts at quarterback. But if he plays the majority of his snaps at tight end, how can you only label him a quarterback?
Well, I mean, how are you going to label him as a tight end when he gets 8 passes and vultures touchdowns on the red zone? It's just broken. I mean, yeah, that's fantasy football. You got to work around it, but I don't like it. I don't know how to fix it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to let the guy, like you have to say, okay, here's what positions he plays. Here's where he spends the most of his time. This is his position. And it's not fair. You're right, but if he's the backup quarterback, but he's the starting tight end or the starting this or that fullback, you got to put him in at those spots.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah. Guys, Gabe's gone. I'm going to take this. Did you guys see what the Jaguars have done? So I saw Marvin Jones Jr. was one of them. I saw, obviously, Carlos Hyde. I saw they paid some guy Agnew, like, pretty decent money.
Well, they had a lot of cap space too.
Yeah, Marvin Jones Jr. though, who's your favorite wide receiver for Lawrence?
Oh, DJ Chark. DJ Chark for sure. It's always been DJ Chark for me, but I do like Marvin Jones though. I don't know. I think that I'm not gonna sit here and say I've watched Trevor Lawrence play, but I haven't. But there's a reason why he's like. So sought, like he's been covered since he was in freaking middle school. Like he's a prodigy, and I think he's gonna light it up. And whether they're
really like that, people follow him like that.
Oh, bro, it's like he's the biggest like prospect since Andrew Luck. Like Andrew Luck was everybody's like, oh, for sure, fire #1 pick. And then like before that, it was like John Elway or something was like the highest coveted.
Is he close to the LeBron status?
Yeah, kind of, honestly.
More Zion than LeBron, though?
I mean, I don't know the history of NFL like that, like where you would put it, but it's kind of like, I mean, I get LeBron is like once in a freaking
ever. He's not a LeBron.
Once in ever, but
he's a Zion. Yeah, that's good.
But I think even more than Zion, like honestly.
Anthony Davis. He's Anthony Davis. He's the can't miss #1. You draft it.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow is like not. I don't think Joe Burrow was the hands down #1 pick
that year,
but he wasn't a generational. If
exactly.
Joe Burrow was in this draft, I think he might go third, right?
Yeah, possibly, or I mean, definitely under Lawrence for sure.
Under Lawrence, but maybe I don't know. maybe under the kid from BYU as well.
It's always like take the best quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Even if they're not the best player available. Like who's the dude in Washington, the defensive player?
Chase Young.
Chase Young. Like he's probably
nasty.
I don't know how you compare him to a quarterback, but like he's probably a better NFL player than Joe Burrow. But you always have to take the best quarterback if you don't already have quarterback solidified. But yeah, Justin, I mean, Trevor Lawrence, it's like crazy. It's like almost like more than Andrew Luck. He's being, highly coveted.
Shark free, man.
But
Well,
it's a social media era too.
I just well, that's a good point too. Even Luck wasn't in it. Social media wasn't that, as far as it is now. But I've always liked Chark, man, but he just last year couldn't stay healthy and it's just up and down. But because to me, like Chark should be like, like a Kenny Galladay or, better than that. Not, Kenny Galladay should be better than he is because he needs to stay healthy, but they both need to stay healthy. But I just think Chark should be like a wide receiver 1. Like he should be like a Hopkins type, but he just hasn't gotten that far yet. I think that Marvin Jones, man, he's the guy who never goes away. You said you never draft him. Are you drafting him this year?
I mean, dude, the problem with that whole team is that you have Shark, you have Marvin Jones, you have Keelan Cole, who was the number 1 for some time last year. You have Laviska. You have D.D. Westbrook, who I still think he needs a change of scenery, but he's still on the team. And then they signed Agnew. Then I hear they signed Philip Dorsett. I'm not saying any of these guys are burners, but it's like so many options that I hate it. I'm like,
but I mean, dude, Chark is like 6'4", man. He's a huge guy.
Isn't Laviska pretty big dude too?
He's not that tall. He's like 6'1".
6'1", 6'2". Yeah, Keelan Cole 6'1". D.D. Westbrook, I think, was like 6 feet. Okay, Shark is the big man on campus, but he's also the downfield threat, isn't he? He's not much.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. All right, if I had to just guess right now, I think him and Marvin Jones are going to be the top 2 receivers on the team, fantasy wise. I mean, I like Laviska, but Laviska's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. He's kind of like a Debo in a way,
like that Jonnu role that we were just talking about. And Keelan Cole's not old, guys. 27.
Oh, I forgot about him. Man, they do have but I just think they're like, let's just load up, let's make Trevor Lawrence look good.
And they may draft a guy, right? They may go draft like a true number 1. So
it's possible. I mean, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I agree with you though, Jacob. If there's 3 guys I'm watching, it's Shark. It's probably Cole over Laviska, just from a pure wide receiver standpoint. I think they like him more. And then Marvin Jones. And I think Marvin Jones is the one that I'm most so. I think he's like Keelan Cole last year, 88 targets, 55 receptions, 642 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's not bad. That's flex worthy a lot of times,
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But I do you mentioned like all the Jacksonville signings. I mean, we talked about it earlier, but I just want to reiterate that I was the one saying that I think that they could bring in a bigger running back and it was going to take away from James Robinson. I think the Carlos Hyde signing is showing us that they are going with James Robinson as the guy. Carlos Hyde is just there to let him rest a little bit. But I think, I heard something crazy, like he played 90% of the snaps or something.
James?
And that's just because they didn't really have anybody else. But I think he's going to actually play less snaps, but that'll be good for him because you can't just burn a guy out like that, So I do like James Robinson a lot more now that they signed Hyde because it's not somebody who's going to threaten his job.
Yeah. It's kind of what I was getting at too, Jacob, and I know you call me the cap specialist, man, but the thing is, even if you could upgrade from him, even if you can get Aaron Jones, why? Why pay Aaron Jones 12 when you can pay James Robinson
no. It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
It's
like he's going to basically give you the same numbers.
Yeah, it's just I don't get it.
That makes sense. Like that, there's no way it just depends. Yeah, but I mean, like they obviously would not bring back Leonard Fournette, right? That's just I'm not saying that, but like a Leonard Fournette type guy, like that would have threatened James Robinson's role, even if they did something cheaper like that. Even
Yeah.
even if they brought in Jamal Williams, I would be more worried than I would
No, yeah,
about
absolutely.
Carlos Hyde, you know?
Yeah.
Even though
Quick
I love
question.
Carlos Hyde.
Off topic, guys. Have we heard anything about Brown heading back to Tampa Bay?
And
Yeah,
Antonio
I thought
Brown, they
agreed.
I would be surprised if he doesn't.
No, they're
I
running
don't
it
know.
back. They're running
With-
it back. They just want another chip while Brady's still breathing.
They're
Like
actively
Antonio
trying
Brown.
to re-sign him. That's what I've heard. They're actively trying to re-sign him. I just realized I was muted, by the way.
He's 33. He's not getting any younger. This is the last time he's going to get paid, probably. Does nobody feel like they're
Well, I
like-
think the reason it works in Tampa Bay is because Tom Brady can keep him in check. Honestly.
okay? But could Kyle Shanahan do that?
Yeah.
You know, I think so.
Yeah,
Could Aaron
yeah,
Rodgers do that? You know,
Aaron Rodgers
Possibly.
doesn't want to deal with that mess.
Aaron Rodgers would beg to have Antonio Brown there. I guarantee he would. Listen, do you pay $8.5 million for AJ Green, who's been injured for 3 years, or do you pay $8.5 million to Antonio Brown, who just won a Super Bowl and was the best receiver on the team for the Super Bowl?
Yeah, but that's not happening.
I'll pay, if I'm the Niners and I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, I got Debo, I got Ayuk, Bourne just signed elsewhere. I have
You just
literally
said-
nothing.
You just said you don't want Juju. There's too many mouths. Now you want Antonio Brown.
Yeah, because that's way different. He's the veteran. He's not going to be expected.
And you're going to
hire-
sign Juju to a 4-year,
Yeah. You
$70
signed
million
Juju, he's
contract or
23.
something.
This is his prime. He's like, dude, I want to be the top dog. You sign Antonio Brown, he's like, oh, I'm 33. I want to win a Super Bowl.
He's
and
just going
get my
to
last paycheck.
contribute at this point,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brady, I don't know why it's taking this long, but I guess they're like trying to make all their other signings first. You
And
know,
then Antonio comes back
and
for
then but they signed Gronk again. I mean, I think Gronk's just going to be very similar to last year. But I don't know, man. How are you feeling about Gronk, Joe? Like, you have him in a dynasty league. Are you holding on to him, or just because tight end sucks, or what?
I don't even know what other. I got Dallas Goddard in that league.
I think so.
Somebody
I don't know.
remind me, did Zach Ertz get traded already?
No,
No.
but he's been given permission. We would have talked about that. He's been given permission to seek a trade.
Okay, so I'm keeping both of them, right? Until I get something better, unfortunately. I gave you my best one. I forget who it was. Or I thought I
don't know.
did.
No, you traded me Stafford. We traded Gronk for Stafford or something like that.
Oh, and I think I
Yeah.
dropped Higbee, and somebody snatched him up, right? I think it was one of our buddies who holds like 8 tight ends. I don't know why. This guy's Kittle.
Is
and,
it? Yeah, it's Sonny. He has
Yeah.
he has like 6 tight ends.
I'm like, dude, what are you holding Higbee for?
And he picked up Gesicki when I dropped him.
I know, I'm telling you, it's like I can't. That's why I'm afraid. I can't drop my tight ends in that league because I'm like,
Oh, he
you
doesn't
never
have
know.
Higbee, but look, he has all the tight ends we dropped. Evan Ingram, Mike
Yeah. Oh,
Gesicki,
I dropped Evan Ingram. Yep.
because Kittle was hurt, so he has Mike Gesicki and Evan Ingram.
Yeah. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, no. There's still so many questions that I need answered. I want to see where Carson goes. I want to see where Fournette goes. Fournette signing with the Seahawks would be tight. And
Yeah,
who
because they
else-
don't have a guy right now. I mean,
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Who else were they talking to real quick? Fournette was talking to somebody else, no? The Patriots? Am I mistaken?
I feel like it was the Patriots. Yeah, the Patriots and they were also interested in Carson as well, but they didn't give him any deals.
Oh yeah, I think
I just-
Patriots wanted
I just
Carson.
really hope that that Fournette doesn't go to a situation like how Jamal Williams just did, right? I hope he doesn't go and then hurt the running back that's already there and himself by going to that team. And look, they're not thinking about fantasy, obviously, but I mean, who really need
So
Atlanta?
Let me propose.
Atlanta needs a running
Patriots-
back, but can they pay Leonard Fournette? Probably not.
This is what I'm seeing. The Patriots are trying to get Fournette or Chris Carson, I should say. If Fournette goes to the Patriots, will you draft him as a running back that you can depend on as your 1 or 2? Or are you still on that, I don't know about Fournette feel?
That would be the worst because
Why?
Belichick does not care about name value or contract value. He
You don't
just
see it as a LeGarrette Blount situation?
it could be, but are they going to be in the end zone as much as they were when LeGarrette Blount played?
I think with their signings, they think so.
No, I don't think Cam's going to be able to push the ball down the field that much, but it's tough, man. I don't like I don't like any running back going to the Patriots unless it's Brady with James White. Like, I just don't like it. I would hate that. I look, we can't pretend that cap doesn't exist, but like I would love for like Atlanta to sign him.
Gurley's
Honestly.
gone.
He was only on a 1-year deal. He's a free agent.
So you
Gurley's
want
done.
LeGarrette or Carson in Atlanta?
Well, I'm trying to think of who doesn't already have guys. And so, Joe, Justin asked about Fournette to the Patriots. Like, would I like that for fantasy? And I said, hell no.
Not for fantasy, but as to piss off Tom Brady, I'd love it.
Well, for football, that's a great move. Like
Yeah.
for Bill Belichick.
So we got Fournette, Carson, and Kenyon Drake still MIA.
I want the Bills. We keep saying the Bills need a running back. The Seahawks are gonna need one. The Bills are gonna need one.
I think the
Yeah.
Niners need a running back too, honestly.
I mean, Jacob, I think they do too, but I think they address it in the draft. I think
Yeah.
you will. I think maybe. So you have.
I heard
Jeff Wilson.
I heard people talking about Kenyon Drake to the Niners. I mean,
Yeah.
and not on
Yeah.
a big payday or anything like that. Just
I don't know where Kenyon Drake belongs outside of the Jets at this point with Jamal Williams not signing there.
Well, this is what I was talking to my buddy about for the Niners, right? I said, listen, you take care of business, right? You bring back what you need, your starting corners, your offensive line, you bring in a defensive end, you shore up the pieces that have to be done ASAP. Okay, now you still have some money left over, and what's the biggest needs? Third wide receiver, third corner. You need a backup running back, arguably a backup quarterback, right? Why do you go and spend $10 million on Andy Dalton? Because we were rumored to be in the hunt for Andy Dalton, right? Why do we go and spend $10 million for Andy Dalton when we could just wait and get a comparable guy like, say, Alex Smith for $2 million, right? And I think that we're going to find that in the running back market too, is because these guys like Fournette, these guys like Chris Carson, Drake, somebody's going to be left out to dry, right? And what do we know?
Yeah.
Players want to go play for the Niners. That's a fact.
And I guess Shanahan just promotes guys from the practice squad, and they almost do the same thing that the starters were doing. Like,
Yeah.
So.
But if you can
Yeah.
get Kenyon Drake for $3.5 million, or
Well, that's what I'm
Jamal
saying.
Williams,
Like,
yeah,
I'm not talking about like signing them to a multi-year big deal.
yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I mean, I wouldn't
not-
mind Philip
I mean-
Lindsay either.
Really, not. I'm not even saying for fantasy because like if Drake goes to that just hurts Mostert and Drake if he goes to the Niners. But for the Niners, it'd be cool.
Mostert
Okay.
barely plays.
Did Philip Lindsay resign?
They put a tender on him or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So basically, if somebody signs him, they have to give up a second-round pick.
Oh, so it's
Which
the
so
same.
basically they're just going to keep him. Like, who's going to sign him and give up a second-round pick?
Well, the Niners did the same thing last year with Matt Breida, and then what ends up happening is that you just work out a sign and trade, and I think we got like nothing out of it. But it's just like, hey, good luck. Hey, we're gonna put this tender on you just to see does somebody want to pay you, and then Breida ended up went to the Dolphins. When
Yeah.
I don't know, Breida could be another option for the Niners, Jacob.
Hey, run it back. Why not?
He knows
Run
the
it back.
system. He's young enough. Frank Gore's another name I've heard thrown out for the Niners.
Oh, go
Maybe just
retire.
to
then,
retire.
man.
Did he retire?
I'm saying maybe just to retire.
One more year, running back with the home team, baby.
Oh yeah.
I thought he said he's playing one more year no matter what. No.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. But he got 2 wins to end the season, though. Or something. They won 2 games. I remember he was saying he didn't want to go out going 0-16.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's been on bad teams. I feel like the last while.
I mean, he's a beast, but he has no business still playing, but he's a beast for still doing it.
Dude, there's a chance that his son could be in the NFL playing with him, like if he lasts another 2 years.
Is
Like
his son?
that?
This
Is
is a
his son
LeBron
coming up?
situation. I don't know if he's like as great as his dad is, but you know,
It's
they always
so
like
hard to
continue
do that in
push.
football, man. Because in basketball, they draft rookies at like 18, right? So LeBron's 18. He has a kid
Yeah.
when he's 19. Then by the time he's 37, his kid's 18. You know, football, these guys don't get drafted till they're like 22.
Exactly. And their careers don't last as long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if Frank Gore had a kid when he was 18, he'd have to play another 3 years. I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough. But
That's not happening.
I'm with you. I know what you're saying, Gabe.
Maybe Brady has a son coming up.
Yeah, Brady's kids are like 10. All that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Brady signed through 2022, man. Who knows?
I saw
That's
that.
nuts.
I saw that. I've seen a lot of talk, guys, about the Niners quarterback, and
Oh,
I
you mean
saw-
this one right here? Bam.
I saw that they said
How we gave that away.
No, we're gonna give it away. We gave away the other one.
Who is that? Joe Montana?
No, man, that's Jimmy G, baby.
I'm seeing a lot of mock drafts having the Niners jump up to get Justin Fields.
No way.
What do you
I don't
mean?
know.
I don't know if they'd invest that much in a quarterback. They'd have to
I
trade
mean-
up what, middle of the first?
Yeah,
Probably
they're
early.
some of the trades that I've seen have been like the Niners trading maybe their first plus a third and then maybe another third to go up with the Lions. Because the Lions are sitting at 7. Another one I saw has Trey Lance falling to number 12 and then them picking it.
Man, I mean, hey, anything can happen. But you don't. Where's your faith in Jimmy G?
The bench.
I mean, like I said, dude, all day today, I've been hyping up Trubisky to the Niners. And my whole thing behind that is just Matt Nagy sucks. Trubisky has potential. He's young enough. He's cheap enough. Go get him for free. Why not? What's the harm in it? What does it hurt?
I just don't see it possible. I mean, maybe actually, why not? It should be cheap because the Niners are in problem, and I don't know. The Bears, Trubisky's just made him look awful. I don't know how much more to say about that guy. He never put it through. It's unlike what's that dude? Mayfield, right? In the Browns, Cleveland.
Yeah. Baker?
Baker, there we go. He sucked ass for many years, and we thought him and Trubisky were kind of similar trajectories, both just never panned out. But this last year, Baker did work. I just don't see that in someone like Trubisky. But if the Niners want to give him a run, go for it.
I mean, where else can he go, right? There's like one more team looking for a quarterback. I mean, take the Jets and Jaguars out of the equation, but the Broncos are the only other team, right?
I'd rather have
Yeah, Broncos, Houston.
Houston, if they move Watson, but they just signed Tyrod today, and they'll probably draft a quarterback if they trade Watson, or potentially get one back in the trade if they trade with like Miami for Tua. So
Well, I don't know if you guys I don't know if you guys heard, but Watson said he doesn't want to play. He only wants to play for 2 teams:
Ooh.
Denver Broncos and the San Francisco 49ers.
When
Why did
did
he
that-
say that?
Yeah, he did.
I saw that.
He said
that
he doesn't want to play Miami. He doesn't want to play New York. He said his 2 teams that he wants to go to are Denver and the San Francisco 49ers, and he has a no trade clause.
Didn't I call the Niners option?
It kind of sucks though. Like I'm starting to like, how are you going to put the team in that situation? Like neither of those teams have enough like to trade to get him.
No, because at the end of the day,
Happen,
they're going to go to Watson and they're going to say, "Listen, bro." San Francisco said they're giving up 2 first-round picks, and the Carolina Panthers said they're going to give up 3 first-round picks, CMC, and a 3rd-round pick. Well, I'm sorry, we're trading you to Carolina, or you're going to sit your ass on the bench next year. What do you want to do? And he's 25. He's not going to give up a prime year. So I don't know. Maybe he pulls Le'Veon and goes to. I'm reading that right here though. The San Francisco 49ers have been busy negotiating. A lot of people, Jacob, were speculating that the Trent Williams deal hadn't been done yet because they were seeing how much caps Trent Williams was bought in on this, according to the reports, that they wanted to see how much cap space they had left over after they traded for Watson.
Interesting. Oh, that they were waiting on that?
Yeah. And then Trent Williams was going to take whatever they had left over.
Yeah. And I heard that the reason the Niners, well, first of all, do we have enough value to trade to make it work? But also the way our team is designed, like we're paying Kittle a lot of money. We have to pay Bosa next year. Like, do we want to design our team around a quarterback who's getting paid a lot, you know?
You have to. If you can get Watson, you have to.
I agree. I agree with that for sure.
You figure out where else you got to make the salary cuts, you know, whether it's, and I hate to say it, but whether it's even if you have to let a guy like Debo walk out the door when his contract's up, as much as I'd love him to be a Niner for life, you have to, look at the Seahawks. They let Golden Tate out, then they let Baldwin out. You know, you have to let these guys walk in order to pay your franchise quarterback. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. This is just the start of it, guys. We'll have to do this again next week.
Literally the first day of of free agency. But yeah, we'll be back.
Galladay, Fuller, all the running backs.
Yeah, I say, once we get some more of these signings, we'll go live again next week or something.
Yeah. Let me just say, I want to set the stage for Deshaun because the report is Chicago offered 3 first-round picks.
That was for Russell.
You got to gauge the market. That's what these guys are going to cost. So who can give? If it's only between the Niners and Broncos, who can give that?
The Broncos.
I'm assuming Deshaun might even garnish more than. I guess Bears are win now, so they paid more for Russell Wilson. But you got to pay up for that. So I'll be curious to see what happens because.
Well, it's weird because all right, you give up your first round picks, right? You assume wherever Watson goes, they're going to be a really good team. So those are going to be later first round picks. So is it really that bad giving them up to get a Watson?
No, I would give it up. I would give it up.
Oh yeah, I would too.
I'm just saying
they want 3 firsts and a young guy. That's the report that I saw. 3 firsts and a young guy. They want
the Texans.
3 firsts and Bosa? No.
Oh hell no.
No. That's what I'm saying. No way. And also, Justin, back to your point on what we heard about Wilson and the Bears. The Bears, the coach and the GM are in the last year of their contracts. They have not been picked up for next year. They have not been renegotiated. Shanahan and Lynch, on the other hand, have been renegotiated, are planning to be here for the long term. So they have a future to build for, where the Bears is like, we're all or nothing at this point. Our jobs are done.
I want Deshaun to go to the Niners. The Niners deserve to be great with a quarterback like that. It's just history, But I hope they give it up because not only did I call him going to the Niners, but if the Wilson to Deshaun trade actually comes to fruition, that would be my real life dream. But if not, I like to see him go to the Niners.
Yeah. Well,
there's one more big thing that no one talked about. And I know I'm the only one that cares, but Matt Prater signed with the Cardinals, and that high octane offense. I'm drafting him. He's going to get Justin Tucker.
Oh, damn, they're giving up on Gonzalez?
I know, Zane.
The homie Carlson's going to have a run for it. All the dope kickers, Matt Prater just brought his old self back in the mix, so I'm excited for that.
Justin's always a day late and $1 short on the kickers. Remember Greg the Leg?
What do you mean? I had him his epic year. He's the one I won the chip. I won the chip.
I know, but
come on,
all in on him with the Cowboys, and
I am all about Blankenship, man. Blankenship. I'm drafting him in every league this year, so nobody else can have him.
Sanders is my kicker 1 this year.
Oh man, we'll do a whole list on kickers and defense for all you guys out there
on free agent kickers.
Yeah, in typical first round fantasy fashion, we ended on kickers. And again, we thank you all for coming out, stopping by. If you've made it this far, you might as well just like and subscribe. Come on, make it easy on yourselves. But we truly do appreciate all of you for showing out. We're looking to do one of these again soon. Other than that, keep in tuned for our next week's episode. We'll be bringing that out. And gentlemen, we got any last words? Oh, the merch, first round fantasy. Guys, this is just day 1 of free agency. There are so many more names to drop, and we'll be here to go over it all with you. Until then, have a good night, sleep easy, and enjoy the rest of free agency. We are out of here. Deuces.
Peace.